And essentially, we are back on the deadlift train today. We have 8 front-loaded good mornings. Again, the weight here is not intentional, or is intentional, but it's not required. So just leaning forward is a good enough stretch slash exercise. It's okay to remove the weight. Okay, so it could be just good mornings versus front-loaded good mornings, followed by 16 alternating step out squats, which I'll talk to you about. It's a very simple idea. It's not going to be challenging from a brain perspective. And then we're going to repeat that 8 good mornings, 16 step out squats 3 times. So, and then we have 5 sets. I would say of 10 Romanian deadlifts or deadlifts, if you want to go down to the ground. And that's assuming your weights are light. So that 10 reps is the assumption that you have a fixed set of weights that are relatively light for a deadlift. If you have the ability, the privilege of having many, many, many weights, I want you doing sets of 5 and increasing weights. Okay. So for most of us who have dumbbells, kettlebell here and there, we're looking at that 10 rep range. If you're someone with a full gym, I'm looking at, I would like to see potentially moderate sets of 5 on your deadlift, just to be clear. For the record, the 3 of us here don't have a whole gym, so we're going to stick with the 10 reps, just for anyone else watching. There's no confusion. We're going to superset these deadlifts with 10 to 12 vertical jumps. Again, if jumping is not an option, that's okay. But I'll discuss those again when we get to this section. And then we have a 12-minute AMRAP. So this is kind of pause, comma, move on. 12-minute AMRAP. This is meant to be taking breaks as needed here, of 12 goblet sumo squats or sumo goblet squats. 6 per side, I say plank rows or shoulder taps. And then 12 weighted sit-ups or dead bugs. And then we have 6 per side Bulgarian split squats. Okay. Don't worry about remembering all that. Just know that it's there. The 40 on, 20 off is an optional, as in if we have time. So little core finisher, right? So if we don't finish it or get to it today, doesn't mean you can't do it unless you want to do it off camera. Okay. Let's start today, as per usual, with some cat-cows, just some gentle movement. Cat-cows, bird dogs, shin boxes. So you set up your yoga mats, your weights, your anything you need to lift some weights. I suggest 10 reps of each. That's being said, you're more than welcome to do more. You could do less. It's totally fine if you want to kind of think of it as a dose and response. You want it to feel good, feel therapeutic, but it doesn't need to be too long. After 10 cat cows, take your time with them. You can move into your bird dogs if you've just done them already, right? But I'm a little behind you guys here. Doing your alternating bird dogs. Do your bird dogs. You can go into the shin boxes, and again, it's okay if you're all kind of slightly at your own pace here, but I'm going to demonstrate the shin boxes in case you're curious. Feet, shoulder hip width, in my toes. Okay. I'm going to rotate to one hip. My opposite sit bone is off of the ground. You can lean back. If just holding this is a stretch, it's okay if you just hold, rest, straighten the legs. Right, that's fine. In addition to the shin boxes, let's kind of add in our upper back rotation. So go back to tabletop or quadruped. You're going to reach for the ceiling. Got the needle through. You'll repeat this 3 times per side at least. If you don't want to rotate through this way, it's okay to just kind of stop before you start to drop the hip. Once you have your threading the needles, you can come back to standing or kneeling. That's fine, Reese, if you're kneeling. But more for Maxine, you can come back to, there she is. I'm back. Beautiful. So let's talk about or review our good mornings. Give you both variations. This is actually, you can think of this initial sort of step as a continuation of the warm-up. So we're just sort of priming the body to do the next part. So nothing crazy intense, maybe a little heart rate increase, but slightly more active than the floor stuff. So we have 2 movements, right? We have the good mornings. Front loading is optional. Okay, that just makes it more abby and core based. And then we have the alternating step out squats. So let's talk about the good mornings first. Good mornings, we've done these a bajillion times, but just in case. If I have nothing, me in a room, I just go hands behind my head, just open up my chest. My feet are hip width. My knees are soft. I'll just sit on my hips back and come back up. I feel a little stretch in my butt, my hips, my hamstrings, my back, whatever, something gentle. Right. The front loading element is going to be carrying a weight. So whether that's a dumbbell, a kettlebell, right? It's great in this case to carry it close kind of to your sternum, as opposed to like the goblet position when we squat, because I want this to feel nice. So my elbows back like I'm rowing. Okay. This helps it feel a little more supported. If I hold this here, it gets kind of bicep-y for me. For my kettlebell athletes, it is okay, depending on the size of your belt, to put the base of the kettlebell onto your sternum or thereabouts. So this is kind of a similar principle. We're just making sure it's kind of near our sternum, right? Or maybe lower than your sternum, mid of your belly, okay? Your torso. The alternating step out squats. Basically, all that means is, I'm going to show you from my waist down here. Essentially, my feet are narrow in the squat width. I tend to squat here, okay? I'm going to start more in my jumping stance, if you will. I'm going to step this way. I'm going to step out, squat, that's 1. Step out, squat, 2. Getting the idea, right? So we're just changing legs every time. So that's the alternating squat step outs. So think of it as like a imaginary step class. without the 80s leotards. Maxine's got it. There you go. And the hair.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands and the hair and the whole,
Yeah.
electrified
It's
color.
hard. Like warm.
Exactly. Beautiful. So let's just start with part A. 3 times through. 8 good mornings. Front loading is welcome, but not required. 16 alternating step out squats. Depth here is not critical, just making sure you feel good. Range of motion feels balanced. Actually, did try to take a step class, step aerobics class, not the full on like leotard version, but like the YMCA version. And it was too hard.
It's hard.
It was like the coordination was, I was like, I can't keep up with this. It was like Zumba, but less fun. At least with Zumba, everyone sucks. uh, but it's okay. Everyone, I will say every Zumba, I mean, albeit it was in college, but every Zumba class I've been in, everyone but the instructor is just struggling to keep up unless
Yeah.
go regularly. So um,
I've done one of those before. I've
they're a
seen
lot of
never
they're a
done
lot
one.
of fun. My personal trick for you is don't look in the mirror because you'll just start laughing and you have to leave the room because that's what I had to do. I needed like I had to leave the room for a few minutes, compose myself, and then just look at the instructor because I had a great time. But if you remember, like Phoebe was it Phoebe or Rachel in Friends when she went to a tap class? Anyway, it was a scenario like that where like you watch her and she is turning the wrong way, and then
Oh yeah.
it was very much like a sitcom, but it was hilarious and everyone was having a great time and no one cared. So it's
Might as well just do jumping jacks for, 45 minutes, but yeah.
yeah, but it's fun though. Like there's music and everyone's just like
Everybody's having fun.
no
And
one cares if you're bad at it. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Like that's not being good at it isn't the point of Zumba. The Zumba is just like you're there to dance or look like an idiot in front of 12 other
I,
people.
my grandma does. I'm not sure if she's still doing it, but she was doing Zumba in her 70s.
wow.
Yeah.
Movement is movement. Like that's a thing for me. It's like I've kind of come off my high horse since, you know, um, I realized there is no one right way to do something. There are many wrong ways, but there's no like one specific right way. And if you're like, I don't want to do that, but Zumba brings me joy. Heck yeah, who am I to tell you not to do Zumba? Right? Um, it's just
No,
one of
that,
those where I'm not here to judge you. I don't care if you do Pilates. I don't care if you do yoga. I mean, I care, but I don't care. It's not a judgment if you do those
yeah.
things. Um, like that brings you joy. Do it. It
And you
gets you
move.
moving. Do
That
it.
makes you just keep moving.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a big advocate of weight bearing. So maybe you carry your groceries from you park farther away from
Mm,
the grocery store and you walk farther. Like it doesn't need to be an epic,
yeah.
you know? But so I think I still believe that you need to do weight bearing movements, but you need to do weight training. Technically, yes. Am I going to make you? No. Beautiful. Going into round 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I'm getting weird notifications on my phone. Give me just a second.
Fine. Take care of what you got to hear.
What this is.
The only notifications I get this time of day is from my friends on the East Coast,
Oh,
but they know I'm awake. So
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling the long run that I did this weekend.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm in the fun part of training where I get 2 rides a weekend.
Ooh.
Look,
Is it training for the death ride? That
yeah, which part of me is just like, why am I doing this again? I'm in that I'm in the middle part where I'm like,
yeah.
do I want to do this? I don't have to do this. I could not. Maybe do I? Like I'm gonna do it. Let's just be clear. But I am
Yes. I
Question.
know that feeling.
yeah,
Why? Why am I doing this? What?
yeah, I'm kind of in that like I know why, but part of me, I'm in that like middle of the story part where I'm like, I don't see the end yet. Like I don't know. We'll see.
Oh,
I felt a little bad. My mom was like, "Do you want to go to like you want to meet us for lunch on Sunday?" I was like, "Nope, I'm biking and I'm working." I was like, sorry, this is I totally forgot it was Easter. Um, I remember it was 420, but forgot it was Easter. And it was also no disrespect, but I live in San Francisco. It was all the way in Oakland. I was like,
wow.
I this is not that I can't go. It's more like if I'm trying to get a bike ride in, do my work, so do happen to work on Sundays, and go to lunch, and it's in Oakland. Like this is none of this is gonna no, I can't. It's too much.
Right.
So
Yeah, everybody's trying to have brunch then too. So
no, I get that. And it was it's a dim sum place that we might go back to and when my cousin comes to visit. So it's fine. But it was just sort of Sundays are not a good day for that. Okay, let's go ahead and review our second part of today's workout. So we have 5 total sets. I wrote 10 Romanian deadlifts or 10 or is it slash deadlift, depending on the weight you're lifting, how you're lifting it, and your setup. Like I said, if you are someone with a full gym, you're doing 5 reps at a moderate weight. If you're someone like me in a house with limited weights, we're going to be doing 10. You're going to directly after your sets of deadlifts, you're going to do 10 to 12 vertical jumps. So this is where if jumping, whether it's a neighbor situation downstairs or you just can't, we can adjust. Okay. So in terms of our deadlifts, I'm going to demonstrate the kettlebell. You can do this with dumbbells. And ultimately, right, we're just going to take that good morning idea. This is my lovely kettlebell. I'm going to stand over it. So it's crossing above my foot. My hips are going to go back like my good morning. As soon as I feel like I'm done with that good morning, instead of reaching forward with my chest, I'm going to sit down with my hips. So it's hips back, sit down. This is pretty low, but I'm comfortable with that. If you're not comfortable with the height of your weight, you can take something like a cookbook or a yoga mat or a yoga block and raise it up a little bit. You're going to grab the object, you're going to stand, and come back up. So as I push, it's here, it's not here and here. For my dumbbells, same idea. I can just 1 or 2 tilt them down if you want to give yourself a little bit of height, right? Instead of even. And then I'm going to go ahead, same idea, either hips back. And I say either touch the ground, right? Or hover, that's fine. Or if it's Romanian, right? We're just not touching the ground. So that's just that hip back motion. That's my good morning. And then of course I want to bend the knee and it makes sense to reach the ground. You can, but that might not make a whole lot of sense depending on how big your dumbbells are. 10 to 12 vertical jumps directly after this. So I have a sofa here, whatever, right? These can be jumping jacks, right? Or squat jumps. But ultimately, you're gonna go ahead and so option 1 is the intended version is a jump land. I'm on my couch, I'm gonna sit forward, sit back down, that's 1. Now, if you don't have the option and or you don't feel great jumping or genuinely have neighbors downstairs, you could try the intent to jump. This is something where this is for a lot of people post knee surgery. They're not jumping yet, but they're starting to create some power-based movements without jumping or landing. So this is thinking about, instead of actually jumping, it's going to be just getting into my toes, just like the intent to jump. So that's an option. If none of those are okay, right, we're going to just go ahead and do 10 to 12 lunge steps. Okay, so if you have the option to step onto a box or a bench, great, right? If not, good old-fashioned lunges are going to work here as well. I want you resting. I would say if you're full on weights, the 5 reps, I want at least a minute and a half of rest. For us here, maybe a minute or so, if you feel okay, right? Just resting, making you're resting after your vertical jumps or your lunges or step ups. Make sense? Cool. If it makes sense, let's go ahead and start. So you're doing 10 Romanian deadlifts, or deadlifts if you're going all the way down to the ground or your elevated surface off the ground. Followed by 10 to 12 seated vertical jumps. I meant to say seated vertical jumps. That could be squat jumps, should you feel inclined. Said step ups if you have the option. Keep his eyes forward in the deadlift. There we go. Or if we need to, equipment free or light equipment, we can go weighted lunge steps. Good. Soft landing as you jump. Imagine you have neighbors below you. That's kind of what I think about. Good. Your heart rate might start to come up a little bit. So it's okay to take an elongated break. I would say anywhere between a minute or a minute and a half is welcome.
Okay.
Good. I will say for the two of you, I would say roughly a minute. If you want to just kind of eyeball your clock or your, watch. We're going relatively hamstring focused today. Go. Nice deadlifts. At the top of each deadlift, just think about standing up. Don't worry about, I'd say, it's gonna sound funny. You're gonna work hard enough. Right? Not overworking these lifts. Good. Again, we can always change to the intent to jump. So going into the balls of the feet, pausing, flexing the quads, and then just sitting back down to the heels again. There you go. Oops.
Okay.
Luckily, that was your phone, not you.
Okay.
That's okay. Are the jumps feeling okay, Maxine, for your heart rate? I know it's sort of increasing quickly. Good. Yeah. I want you to know I've done this. So I understand. And you're doing great.
I used to do this functional fitness class. There's a lot of weights and stuff like this. We did squat jumps probably like every day.
Cool.
And I probably haven't done them since then.
I haven't done them since I was on the rowing team in college because
It's bringing back some memories.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Okay.
been squat jumps.
Yeah, honestly, we're just looking on what I'm trying. Well, the idea behind pairing a deadlift of any weight, right, and any style with a jump is we're building, if the weights are heavy enough, building some strength and then producing power, right? So
Yeah.
two ends of the spectrum. So that hence doing both. But yeah, I'm glad that squat jumps can be handy if you don't have anything else. There we go. Taking your time. Just want distinct rest breaks. That's really what I'm looking for after each set.
My gosh.
Yeah, it's okay. If you need to just, because if the jumping is moving, like moving your workbench.
I mean, I was just banging the table with my arm. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Good. Because I am terrible at counting. Just curious. Is this next round going to be 4?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
4.
We
Okay.
did 4 rounds?
You're doing a total of 5.
5. Okay.
I'm just curious what set you guys were on.
Yeah, this is gonna be 4.
Yeah. So,
Starting 4.
as you know, my counting is notoriously questionable. And it's not malicious. I just can only do one thing at a time. So nice deadlifts. I think it goes without saying, if you need to modify weights, if you have the option, volume, so increasing or decreasing, I would decrease if you need to, unless you're really feeling fancy, you want to go up in volume. So you can think of it that way. You're doing great, but mostly if you feel like you need to modify the amount of reps you're lifting based on your body, your training, what you've got going on after this, that's okay. You know how you have an otter case on that phone?
Oh yeah, she's well protected.
Great. You remember when you first get your iPhone, you're like, oh no, my precious baby. And then now you're like, boom, and you're like,
Like
so
throwing
you're like that, be fine. Good.
I think they're a bit more robust than when they first came out.
I'd like to think so. Also cases have gotten much better.
Oh yeah.
True.
But it's certainly, I will say it's only, I mean, it's been a few years now, but less than 10 years ago, I dropped my phone like from my car door, right? Like, so from the step of my car door onto the pavement. So like that much.
Ooh.
It landed on like, it didn't even crack the screen. The screen, if it screen down, it hit like a pebble.
Oh no.
And like, it didn't crack the screen, but the screen just went like like not like black as in no light came through, like you could just stop working.
Oh no.
And I was like, I called Apple on someone else's phone because the phone worked, but you couldn't see what was happening. And it was just like, I had to explain, like, it felt like this far. Like, it wasn't like I didn't know, it just, the right
Right.
set of circumstances, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
They kept trying to send me dual factor authentication. I was like, bro, I can't, my
Yeah.
screen doesn't work.
Yeah.
Can't see.
Wow.
I had to get Nikki to be like, I had to get Nikki to do what he does best, which is
Mm.
he calls because Apple has steps. He calls the level 1 engineer and he goes, I've done X, Y, Z, give me level 2. I've done X, Y, Z, give me level 3. I've got X, Y, Z, give me level 4. And it's like eventually we got there.
Oh
But
my gosh.
Oh, yeah, to have like IT talk to IT language.
Yeah.
no, they have a script. So
Oh,
Oh,
they will repeat. It's a bit like when like telemarketers will be like, or like they're like, would you like to buy something? And you're like, no, I don't need it. And then they have a response for that. And then
uh,
response for everything, even if you've already just told them
no.
the answer to the question they're about to ask you. Um, so
they have a script. Yep.
I mean, to a point, I'm sure. Yeah, obviously you can go off script, but it was just it's funny now, but at the time I did want to kind of reach through the phone and just
Yeah.
just be like, listen to my words. My screen doesn't work. I can't access my screen for the dual factor authentication that I appreciate what you're trying to do here. Is there another option? We got there eventually.
All right, that was fine.
Beautiful. We're gonna longer the rest now, so we're gonna take a slight break. I'm gonna talk about the movements you're gonna be doing next. And unlike this last section that you just completed, the rest is as needed, wherever you want them, in between sets, in between movements, so on and so forth. This is just meant to be 12 minutes of work. That's it. How intense you go, how fast you go is all up to you, but quality of movement is always step one, right? Your safety is always step one. I guess safety / fun, both of those things. So I'm gonna go for each movement and then their reps. We have sumo goblet squats. Sumo just means you have a slightly wider stance than normal. And so normal is meaning your normal, not my normal. So take your normal squat stance, take a step out to the right and left, and you've got a starting point. Okay. So essentially the goblet part we get, right? You're carrying the weight here. Okay, cool. That's your goblet. The actual sumo element is if I squat, let's say my default squat is about hip width. So that's me here. I might go like a step out. Now, probably not a huge change, sure, but just a little wider, right? Not so wide I can't do it. You can go wider if you want, but that's up to you. I don't mind, but I just want something that feels good. So still want the hip, knee, ankle following each other. If you toe out, right, that's okay. But just a wider stance squat. That's all that means. You're doing 12 of those. Followed by 6 per side plank rows. So if you have the option of 2 dumbbells, great. If you don't, we can make them singular. So that's 6 per side. And of course, we have shoulder taps. So I'm going to start from the top. Plank rows. So I'm going to have two dumbbells here. Okay, I'm going relatively light here because that makes sense for me. I want them underneath my shoulders like I want my push-up. I'm going to find my plank shape. My plank row is basically glorified shoulder taps. 1, 2, 3. Trying to avoid that hip shift if possible. If this is like, hey, I have 1 dumbbell. That's it. I have 1. I only own 1. That's okay, right? It's a locker with the hands down. But it could be 6. 1, 2, do 6, and then switch. Okay, so that's an option. If none of this makes sense for you, or it's just frankly too much, okay, we can then make it plank, shoulder taps, thigh taps, right? Right, we're just adding a plank into something, right? Plank, row, plank, tap, right? The row is a little more specific, but the low to no equipment variations are okay too. You can, of course, always elevate your hands if you're doing the shoulder taps. And of course, plank hold. Really, if it comes down to it, we can go down to a plank hold if we need to. You're doing 6 per side if you're doing any of the single arm variations. From here, 12 weighted sit-ups. You can always, of course, unweight them. You can make them dead bugs. The weighted sit-up, you can do one of 2 options or styles. Option 1 is just weight on the chest. So I'm gonna take my weight, just kind of keep it in my chest, right? And sit up. Okay. You can do whatever you want with your legs. I just have my legs bent because I like to. Okay. Option 2. Weight is over, have a good grip on this. My weight over my shoulders. And as I sit up, goes over my head. Right. Slightly more challenging. You can probably see why. And then finally, our 6 per side Bulgarian split squats. These could also be just plain split squats. So that's our lovely couch. Elevated surface. Should you have one? Foot either goes top of your foot here, could be ball of your foot if you're more comfortable with this. I'll go this way so you can see. It's too far. Then you're gonna go ahead and do 6. You want to add weight? Go ahead, add some weight. If you don't, that's okay. All right. You're gonna repeat, and it's okay to refer back to the list because there's a lot of things. You're gonna repeat these things for a total of 12 minutes, resting as much as you need between stuff. Right? Just moving, try and just move smoothly and relatively consistently. I will start this clock, so you don't have to guess here. Without standard. Okay, we start in, say, 5 or so seconds. You can grab your weights. You want to start a few seconds early. We're starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. On the squats, going to use eyes forward and chest up. And even it actually might be potentially for some people easier, especially if you have tight hips. After your 12 goblet, sumo goblet squats, you're doing 6 per side plank rows. That could be shoulder taps. That could be a singular dumbbell if you need to make a single dumbbell. Basically, we'll work with what you have for this piece. 6 per side plank rows. You're going to stay on the floor here and complete 12 weighted sit-ups, maybe just regular sit-ups. Or if you prefer the dead bugs, we'll do 12 dead bugs. And you hold the weight at your chest, or as it comes up, the weight can come over your head. But that's gonna depend on the weight you have. You want to keep this weight medium to light. If you need to change that into a different ab piece, change to 12 reps of something else. And then 6 per side, Bulgarian split squats, that's feet up. However, if you don't have anything to lift feet on, 6 split squats per side is also fine. Yeah. Good. We're giving the hamstrings a break a little bit. We're kind of loading a little more front of the leg now. Beautiful, good. And then resting, like I said, that could be between, that was one full round after your split squats. But resting between things, between movements, between sides, all welcome. The rest is going to be self-dictated. You're going to go when you're ready, of course. You start back at the top of the list, and that's the sumo goblet squats or goblet sumo squats. It all means the same thing. After your squats, you're doing 6 per side plank rows or any of the varieties and variations I talked about before. Good. On the road, you're going to pull the elbow towards your hip. Yeah. There we go. Lovely. After your 6 per side plank rows, with the variation you chose, 12 weighted sit-ups, or an appropriate ab piece of your choice. I will say, I know we're timing this live here, but if you're doing this part later or on your own, you can self-set a timer. Yeah, it's okay. I realize it's a long list, as in there's more than 3 things, and we tend to have trouble remembering. Really, I mean, like the human beings have hard time remembering. Think the maximum is like 7 things you can remember, and 3 is comfortable, 4 is hard. So refer back to that list whenever you need. But it's broken. Think of it like at the top of the list, you're standing up. The 2 middle stations, you're on the ground, and then you come back to standing for your squats again. And the good news is you're over halfway, and the sun is up, Risa. I don't know if you see it, but I say sunshine. It's not dark anymore. I don't know if there's sun, but
There's light.
there's light. I have my shades down, so I can't tell, but I'm gonna guess it's overcast.
San Francisco?
Shocking. I remember the first time I flew into Miami, and took a red eye, so I arrived in the morning, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and I was like,
Yeah. It's foggy here. Yeah. Even yesterday, driving from like, yeah, downtown area to out here. It was sunny, like even around California and Park Presidio, but I get back home here in the 40s
Oh,
and
well, in the avenues. Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, out in the far avenues. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I said, I can see the tower from the other side of Twin Peaks, radio tower, and I can see it. And if there's fog, I bring a sweatshirt to go across town. And if I can see it clear as day, I bring a light jacket or something much less. Um, that's my litmus test for dressing myself to go across town. Besides checking the weather report, but still. Beautiful work, y'all. Working through, right? We're going for quality here. A little bit of work. I will say though, Risa, when it's a sunny day by the beach, it's like everyone, like everyone's out. Everyone's just like, there's sunshine. Um, you have 3 minutes remaining, right? Well over halfway. I wouldn't say you're practically done, but you're certainly close. But just like anything else, rest can be really strategic, as in it helps you feel stronger, but also sometimes it is something your nervous system needs after accumulated fatigue, which is what has happened here today. Just to be clear, well, I think maybe to your relief, perhaps, there is not time for the at-peace finisher. We're gonna be finishing. Oh no. um, however, so feel free. I realize that was a bit of a stretch. I put that in there, but it is optional, right? It's more like a bonus for anyone who wants a little more core work. And just like anything else, if the core work has something that you can't tolerate or do, it's okay to change it for something you can do instead. Right. Split squats, right? So that's great. Good. When in doubt, keep your big toe, pinky toe, and heel of your standing leg nice and firm. All right, my friends, you have 30 seconds left. That's it. Okay. Final 30 seconds. Three, two, one, and rest. If you want to finish off reps because you helps your brain, that's okay. You can finish off the reps you were on. Good. All right. Nice job today.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Sweaty today. Yeah. Everything was just sort of,
Yes,
yeah. It's like a,
glowy.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? That line from Fame. Men sweat and women glow, or something like that.
I haven't watched that in ages. It's been a long, I mean, actually,
Long time.
might be
Fair
worth a rewatch.
I date myself. That's all right. I was in the car with my son yesterday and he had Fleetwood Mac Rumors on. And I said, I got that on vinyl.
I mean, look, like music is cyclical, just like fashion's cyclical.
Yep.
Like it's like when your kid's like, "Have you heard of them?" I was like, "Yeah, I had their record. Thanks for that. I've heard them. I've heard of
Now,
them. Thank
Got the vinyl album when it first came out. Yeah.
you." But I can appreciate that. I mean, I didn't know anything existed past the late 1970s because my dad just listened to the radio and it was the oldies radio station. So I was like, "There's something beyond 1978? What do you mean? I don't understand."
my favorite is hearing songs that we all grew up with that are now like grocery store music or like elevator music. Like, wait a minute.
At least you can kind of just sing along in the elevator.
Like, moving along, this is my jam.
We're like sitting there. I imagine a power suit just being like just rocking it out. And then you get off the elevator, something happens, just walk away. Beautiful work this morning. Take care of yourselves. Drink plenty of water. Eat some protein. It's plant-based. And I will see you guys next week. Let me know how you feel. I know it's probably a little extra spicy today. So if you're not training or in a training program, go for a walk. It's a nice active recovery today. Beautiful work.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Kirstie.
you both.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.